I'm Penny Snell and I'm a florist. I've been associated with the National Garden Scheme for 38 years. I did a 6-year stint as chairman and now I'm in charge of the London Gardens. I also open my garden in Cobham to the public each year. I'm going to show you how to make a Christmas wreath for your front door using materials picked from the garden. You start with a metal wreath frame, which you can get online from anybody who sells florist sundries, or if you have a florist sundry shop near you, they'll all have these metal wreaths. And then I've got this real wire, and I'm going to bind everything on this using this wire. If you don't have the real wire, you could use garden string, green garden string. I might be inclined to use it double because it does break quite easily. So this is called carpet moss, and it's slightly damp because that'll help keep the material alive. It's not the most beautiful stuff, but it makes a good base. So we just bind that on and put it on nice and thick so you don't get a miserable thin wreath. Just make sure it's nice and secure, because if it isn't, great chunks of moss will drop off when you start poking greenery into it. Now it's fully mossed, and the best place to probably buy moss is from a florist shop. They don't all like it because it's messy stuff, and not all florists are that keen on having moss, but they can all jolly well get it if you order it from them. You need all the greenery which you've picked from the garden and given a really good drink to. I always crush the bottom inch of the stems with a hammer so that it can soak up as much water as possible, and that will give the wreath a good chance of lasting a while if it's had a really good drink. So we've got yew, camellia, blue pine, ivy. This is box. Just use a kind of material that's nice and robust, these evergreens. You don't want anything that's going to wilt and make the wreath look tired just before Christmas. I'm now going to start putting the greenery on the wreath frame, and I'm using the same wire as I used to bind the moss on. And again, you need to be generous. You don't want a miserable skinny wreath. It's nice if it's quite wild looking, not all neat and tidy. Be sure to cover the moss at the side, because when it's hanging on the front door, you often get a view of the side. This is lovely, this blue pine, and it smells gorgeous too. Just work in one direction, bringing all the stems down towards you so that it's all going the same way. Otherwise it will look a great big mess. And I'm putting several pieces of each kind of greenery together. I don't have a system of what kind of greenery I'm going to put on here. I just do it by eye, and I think that a very shiny plain leaf of a camellia is quite a nice contrast with the blue pine. No, I think I'll give myself an A for that. So when you've got all the greenery on the wreath, you then need to add some embellishments, some berries if the birds have left you any, the holly berries. So we have Chinese lanterns, which I've wired, fir cones, which I've also wired, magnolia, the seed heads of Magnolia grandiflora, and then this is a rosehip from the City of York rose. To wire these lanterns, take a florist's wire and just poke it through. They're quite delicate and quite papery, so you put it right through the middle of the lantern, bend it down and twist it round. The fir cones, the magnolia and the Chinese lanterns I've wired, because they haven't got stems. But the holly has got nice long stems, and so it's fine to not wire that. So now I'm going to put some of these rather colourful things on the wreath, and because I've wired them I can poke the wire into the moss, and then I'm going to bind it as well. And there's no real rule about how far apart the binding should be, just make sure things are secure. If you haven't got the sort of bright orange things in your garden and the birds have eaten all your berries, florist shops will sell bunches of berries, and you could put apples, little crab apples, all kinds of things, anything that's sort of bright and cheerful. Just make sure everything's really nice and secure. I'm putting 2 or 3 fir cones together. You don't want it too dotty and spotty. It's nice to have a little group. You'll probably find, if you haven't got fir cones in the garden, you could probably find them anywhere. Again, when something's been wired, you can just poke it straight into the moss. Just secure it with the real wire as well. It's quite a good idea at this stage to make a hook to hang it from. You take a couple of wires, poke it right through the moss and make sure it goes through the frame, not just through the moss, it's got to go through the frame as well, and then twist them together to make a loop to hang the wreath from. The real wire, which I've been using to bind everything onto the wreath, needs to be fastened off securely. You can either twist it round a piece of one of the twigs or just twist it round. I've twisted it round the loop that we're going to hang the wreath from. Now the final thing is I've got some raffia here, but you can use ribbon if you prefer it. I'm not going to just tie a bow, I'm going to make one up. I'm just going to twist that round the loop I made to hang it from. This is your finished wreath, exclusively made for the National Garden Scheme.